Chapter 12. The Smell of Blood. Right now, that obstacle was looking down, avoiding Sunny's gaze. His hand rested on the hilt of his sword. As always, Sunny had no idea what was going on inside Hiro's perfectly shaped head. The uncertainty made him nervous. Finally, after what felt like a long time, the soldier spoke. "I have only one question." Both Sunny and Scholar stared at him, holding their breath. "Yes," Scholar asked. "You said one of us must be sacrificed to save the other two. Why him? From what I see, you are far closer to the grave." A great question. I was just about to ask it myself, Sunny thought. He turned to Scholar, struggling to suppress a mocking grin. But to his dismay, the older slave already had a response ready. Before the first attack, he was already bleeding from your senior's whip. During the attack, he was drenched in another slave's blood. His cloak, too, is soaked in it from the previous owner's death. The boy already reeks of blood. Keeping him alive will only endanger us. That's why he's the best choice. Sunny's grin died before reaching his face. "Curse you and your big brain." Scholar's reasoning was disturbingly solid. Hiro listened in silence, his expression growing darker with each word. Finally, he turned to Sunny, a dangerous gleam in his eyes. "That is true." Sunny felt his mouth go dry. Cold sweat ran down his spine. He tensed, ready to act, but then Hiro smiled. "Your logic is almost unassailable," he said, unsheathing his sword. "However, you failed to account for one thing." Scholar raised an eyebrow, trying and failing to hide his nervousness. "And what might that be?" The young soldier turned to him, smile gone. In its place was a thick, palpable killing intent. "It's that I know who you are, Your Grace. I know what you've done and how you ended up a slave. Just one of your revolting crimes would be enough to make me want to kill you. So if anyone here deserves to be sacrificed, it's you." Scholar's eyes widened in panic. But the smell of blood." "Don't worry," Hiro said coldly. "I'll make you bleed enough to overpower whatever scent the boy carries." It all happened so fast, Sunny barely had time to react. Hiro lunged forward with speed that barely seemed human. In a blink, Scholar was shrieking on the ground, one leg broken with a brutal strike from the flat of Hiro's blade. Without pause, Hiro stomped on the other leg. The sickening crack of shattering bone echoed through the air, turning the shriek into a sobbing howl. Just like that, Scholar was done for. The sheer brutality of Hiro's actions stood in stark contrast to his usual grace. Sunny felt the blood freeze in his veins. This was terrifying. Hiro turned to him with a calm, emotionless look. "Wait here." Then he grabbed the older slave by the collar and dragged him down the path, disappearing behind a rock outcropping. A few minutes later, gut-wrenching screams echoed on the wind. Sunny was left alone, trembling. Damn, this is too much. He still couldn't believe how sudden and how ruthless Scholar's end had been. Sometime later, Hiro returned, acting as though nothing had happened. But it was that eerie normalcy that unsettled Sunny most. After sifting through Scholar's rucksack and tossing most of the firewood, Hiro slung it over his shoulder and turned to Sunny. "Let's go. We need to hurry." Still too stunned to speak, Sunny nodded and moved forward. Now only two of them were left. It was kind of stupid, but Sunny suddenly felt lonesome. The stone path was far easier to walk than the steep mountain wall. He even had time for thoughts he didn't want. A strange melancholy crept in, and for some reason, he began to feel that the end of this nightmare, whatever it might be, was drawing near. They walked in silence until Hiro finally spoke. "Don't feel guilty about what happened. It wasn't your fault. The decision was mine and mine alone." He was a few steps ahead, so Sunny couldn't see his face. "Besides, if you knew that man's sins, actually, it's better that you don't. Just trust me when I say killing him was an act of justice." I wonder which one of us feels guilty. These people, always rationalizing, always desperate to preserve some illusion of righteousness even while doing the foulest things. Sunny hated the hypocrisy. He didn't respond. Hiro chuckled softly. "You don't like to talk, do you?" Well, fair enough. Silence is gold. They didn't speak again, each lost in thought. The sun was setting, bathing the world in a million shades of crimson. This high up, the air was clean and sharp, sliced by streams of scarlet light. Below them, a sea of maroon clouds rolled slowly past the mountain. The moon and stars had begun to pierce the vermilion sky. It was beautiful. Sunny, however, could only think about how cold it would be once the sun disappeared completely. Before that happened, Hiro found them shelter. Not far from the path, hidden behind tall rocks, was a narrow crevice in the mountain slope. Grateful to escape the wind, they followed it into a small, well-concealed cave. Sunny reached for the firewood, but Hiro stopped him with a shake of his head. No fire tonight. The beast is too close. Camping without flames wasn't ideal, but at least they wouldn't freeze inside the cave. The alternative was far worse. Sunny settled against the wall, while Hiro sat opposite, looking pensive and distant. He was clearly in a strange mood. If nothing else, it showed in the fact that, for the first time, he hadn't cared for his sword after making camp. Soon, the sun was gone, and the cave descended into complete darkness. Of course, Sunny could still see perfectly well. Hiro, on the other hand, was now blind. In the dark, his handsome face looked noble and sorrowful. Sunny studied it, unwilling to fall asleep. Then, quietly, Hiro spoke. You know, it's strange. Usually, I can feel someone's presence even in absolute darkness. But with you, there's nothing. It's like you're just one of the shadows. When no answer came, he smiled. Are you asleep? The question echoed in the darkness. Sunny, who had barely ever spoken to Hiro, and even then only when absolutely necessary, felt an odd sense of intimacy bloom in the stillness between them. Maybe it was the darkness that gave him courage. Or maybe it was time. Besides, there was an occasion. Why? Are you waiting for me to fall asleep before you kill me? He asked quietly. Or will you do it in the morning?